Shalom, shalom. We are back. Shabbat shalom. I just decided to make that a whole separate video and then make a new one. So here's a new one. Okay. So the question is, Sister T, can a wife divorce her husband?
That would be yes.
Yes. All right. So there's the answer to your question. Have a blessed Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. Oh wait, you want an explanation? Okay, I'll give you an explanation. Can a wife divorce her husband? Absolutely. If you are not an Israelite. Absolutely. In fact, I got proof. Bring your phone out. So in this marriage series, we're talking about divorce, putting away. But first, I was asked, can a wife divorce her husband? And we're taking Matthew 19. That's the chapter that people have been asking about. Because the Bible says that she's an adulterer okay. Uh, if you go to Matthew 19 and go to verse 3, the Pharisees also came unto him. See, there's so much in this chapter that people don't read. They read over. They skip over because there's so many answers in this chapter. Yeshua's first response answers many questions that many of you have when it comes to, or when you say, well, in the beginning it was one man and one woman. That's not what Yeshua said. That's not what he said at all. That's part of the marriage series. We're going to hit that one a little bit later. He actually said that what?
That there was male and female.
So maybe Yeshua was actually saying not that there has to be one man and one woman in a marriage, but that there has to be a male and a female to procreate, meaning not a male and a male, not a female and a female. He said a male and a female. That's how you procreate. That's how you procreate. Now in this world today, because everything's upside down, they're getting men impregnated with things and impregnating. The two women can have a child, but that's not the point of this video. But it just goes. We're going to break down this chapter so that you have a clear understanding of what he is actually saying in this chapter. But he says, the Pharisees also came unto him, tempting him. So all this is a temptation. And saying unto him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? So the word put away in the Greek is Greek 630. The Thayer's definition is definition 1, to set free, definition 2, to let go, dismiss, definition 3, well, we're looking at definition 4. It says, used of divorce, to dismiss from the house, to repudiate. The wife of a Greek or Roman may divorce her husband. Right there. Let me see if you can push pause. Right there, definition 4. Right there. So, the wife of a Greek or a Roman may divorce her husband. And that's what we have in this Roman Greek culture today. This is why I have told people when you come to the faith, it's amazing. When people come to the faith, they want to change their name. They get baptized. They forsake that what they had then, in Christianity. They get baptized. They change their name. They change their garments. But why is it that they never change their covenant in their marriage? Why is it that they keep the covenant marriage that they had in this Roman Greek system and they don't create a new covenant in their new faith? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? Your covenant that you made when you get married in this system is in the Greek and Roman system. So, in that system, we just read that a Greek and Roman wife may divorce her husband. That's why we see so much of that taking place. What we think is in Israel is because the covenant that you're still under is the covenant you made under the system, which is a Roman system. It's a Greek system that your covenant is still bound together under. Yeah, I think.
I did a video talking about this. If you're Israel and if you make a covenant before, you can't hold on to a covenant you made under different religion or different ideologies. It just doesn't work because then you are not under the law of Yah. And even keeping those covenants sometimes cause us to err.
Hmm.
And I've known that personally in our life. And he does. The Bible does also talk of render unto Caesar what is Caesar's. So if you're Yah's, that's where you should be under what Yah is saying.
Yes, if you're going to be under Yah's covenant, Yah's covering, then that is what you are to be under. But so many want to have oh, what about the marriage license? You need a marriage license to have more than one wife. You don't need a marriage license to have one. You need a marriage license if you want to have it under this Greek and Roman system. You want proof? Okay, I'll give you proof. Ecclesiasticus chapter 1, starting at verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So these are Israelites that have come out from amongst the heathen, which some of us are afraid to do. We want to stay amongst the heathen and don't want to come out from them, but then we want to do all sorts of other stuff and argue with people who have come out from amongst the heathen. And that, you see that madness? So since they have departed from the heathen, they've had much sorrow. It's amazing. People want to argue with me. Oh, you are fraternizing. You're with the enemy. You live exactly how they taught you to live. So you can live and do exactly what the enemy has taught you to do, but then tell me and get mad at me and unsubscribe. But please unsubscribe as fast as you can. Hit that little red subscribe button. Unsubscribe. It made no difference to me. I'm still gonna walk this thing out. It don't change the way we live. You ain't gonna hurt our feelings. I only got 3 of them anyways. 3, and some of you are hurting one of them. I'm about to have 2. So this device pleased them well. So it pleased them well. The Israelites were pleased at this idea. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, the United States of America government, the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. Now, who are the heathen at this time? These are the Greeks. These are the Greeks that the Israelites wanted to do after. They wanted to do the same thing that the Greeks did. What did we just read? That a Greek or a Roman woman can divorce her husband. See, many of you Israelites, so-called Israelites, love your covenant that you have made with the heathen, with the king. You love that. Well, it's not a marriage unless we have a marriage license. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king who gave them license. You want their license because you can't imagine not having it. Because that license gives the woman the right to divorce the man. But in Israel, we don't have that. In Israel, if that woman were to divorce her husband and go do her own thing, she'd be outcasted. The Israelite men would come together and be like, listen, we ain't marrying that woman. She left her husband. That'd be adultery. That's what we would do. Of course, there'd probably be some Israelite men who slightly go marry her anyways, but without speaking. Whereupon they build a place of exercise, and it goes into that. So can a woman divorce her husband? Absolutely, if she likes the ordinances of the heathen. Then during this time, Maccabees is the time of the Greeks. And Antiochus was king. So she can. But that's why we speak so much on when you leave this world, the Bible says, be ye transformed. Put away the old man. All things have become new. And old things are passed away. If old things are passed away, and you think your name has changed and has passed away, and your clothing has passed away, and your eating has passed away, then why aren't your covenants passed away? Why do you hold on to those covenants still? That's why when people come to us and ask us, and I always tell them, make a new covenant with your spouse or spouses. Don't hold on to that same covenant you had in America. Well, y'all put together, let no man separate. So you're trying to tell me that you're in the world, y'all put y'all together. Really? You're out there just sinning, doing your own thing, and y'all put y'all together. If you're together right now, then why don't y'all make a covenant in this faith right now? Make a covenant. Set a date. Make a covenant. Stop with this. We want to operate within the Roman system, this Greek system, but we want to have the benefits as if we're Israel. You can't. You can't. That's why it is so important that when you leave this world, when you put aside all that vanity, that wickedness, and all things that become new, that all things, it doesn't say most things, it doesn't say partial things, it doesn't say almost all things, it doesn't say majority of things, all things have become new. They include your covenants. So therefore, your covenant, your marriage does not need a license from the king. You don't need a stamp of approval from the United States of America. I have people ask me, well, how do you do inheritance? There are all sorts of ways to have an inheritance pass through without the king, without the license from the king. See, the problem is that majority of people, the reason why you want the marriage license is because the marriage license gives you the ability to have certain tax write-offs, to have certain tax benefits that the king gives you.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Following Yeshua.
Yeah.
So for those who are in the way and both husband and wife are on board and they married in the system, should they get a divorce now?
No,
Should they go and take that, or is
no,
that
no. You do not go and dibble dabble anymore with what they got going on. You don't need to go and let's go get divorced then. No, you don't need to do that. You need to establish a covenant with the two of you and the Father. When the Bible says out of the mouth of two or three witnesses, you might want some witnesses there too. Let all things be established out of the mouth of two or three witnesses. So you want some witnesses. But don't go running to the city. Well, we're gonna get a divorce. You don't need to do all that. You don't need to do all that. Just like when people change their name, did they go and say, I'm changing my name legally? Or do you just say, don't call me that no more? That's not who I am. When you make certain there's certain things that you may have done within the system that you may just have to walk away from. Just walk away from it. When you walk away from sin, you don't have to go and say, all right, I'm no longer making this agreement. By the simple fact of you walking away from it, lets you know that agreement is now void. When we walked away from the city, that let the city know, that let Hasatan know we had no longer have an agreement with you and staying on this reservation. We no longer have an agreement with the king that we are to live this way. Our agreement's void. Contract is broken. We now walk in the newness of life, and we have a new contract. We have a new contract with our king. You can't serve two masters. You can't have a marriage to Yah and then a marriage in a system. And what I mean by marriage in a system is you can't say, well, this marriage license means that we're married because we got married in front of a. We don't even acknowledge. We don't have a single wedding picture anymore from our marriage. We don't have a marriage license anymore. We tore it up, burned it, burned the pictures too. Our covenant is with the Father. It's with Yah. That's what it is. So that's why we need to make our covenants with each other within the faith and stop holding on to these agreements we made in the system to mean something to us. They don't mean anything. If you're an Israelite, now if you're still a Greek or a Roman, you can't get mad if you are still operating under that mindset. And then she's like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm leaving. You can't get mad because clearly you are still operating under the pretense that your marriage is within this Greek Roman system. And that was an automobile without a muffler. Very loud. I thought about doing that. Beyond the point. So establish new agreements. The same way you get baptized in the faith, the same way you do all these changes. You change the way your clothing, you change the way you dress, you change the way you walk, you change the way you talk, you change the way and all these things are supposed to take place. But it's amazing that so many people change certain parts of themselves, but they keep certain parts of themselves still entangled in the system, still entangled in that slave captivity way of thinking. Can't do that. Operate in the newness of life. Your life becomes new. It doesn't stay the same. And you shall know the truth.
and the truth shall make you free?
It makes you free because you're operating in it. If you operate in truth, you will be made free. So it's time to free our marriages from this crap that we call marriage in this system. And let's get ourselves in line with the covenant of Yah. And you will see changes. See, a lot of these marriages today still have problems because your marriage is still under the same guise that it was when you got married originally. There's still a God over your marriage. That God is the court system because you wouldn't ask their permission. You wouldn't ask them, can we get married? Hey, hey. And they said, well, give me $60. Give me $60 and I'll marry you. Then it'll be illegal. Give me $60. Okay, here's $60. Here's $60. Can I sign the paper that says that we're married now, please? Can I sign it? I hope you understand what we're saying. Be quiet. I hope you're understanding what we were telling you. You got anything else?
Um, I had something not sure is appropriate for this video. Maybe we can go into detail in the next video. But a lot of times what you'll find, because some people, if you want to get extra legalistic about everything because you really don't, really you just don't want to accept the truth, so you try to go overboard with things. But sometimes when you already have a covenant within the system, when you did not know what people would do, then if you try to go and get a divorce out of the system, sometimes you'll actually create more problems for yourselves trying to then go and divorce because you give the system still power. Because if you ever been through a divorce proceedings, my husband have, as well as other people we've known. When you go through a divorce proceedings, now they're in your business even that much more because now they're trying to get money from you. They don't let the two people just agree, we don't want to be together, this is how we want it, stamp it, and our divorce is over. That's not what they do because the government wants something from you. They want money, they want things like that. So and then they want to somehow make a person pay child support. I mean, this is an agreement because you're trying to keep it Israel. So you will actually create more problems for yourselves. So when scripture also, talk about things that, Israel can benefit from. Remember, we're coming out of captivity. We're turning from those ways. Sometimes it's best to leave what is, as far as those sort of things, where it is, and just don't dibble dabble anymore.
Just walk away from it.
Walk away from it. And when you truly are serving Yah and you start to fear Yah, your mind is not going to go to, let me go use the system to try to divorce. You're going to know the fear of Yah going to come upon you.
Yep.
And that's who govern your marriage, at that point. So you don't necessarily need to go and try to get a divorce from the system. Like I said, there's so many details that goes into this one. That's why I didn't think.
This whole marriage system, this video series is going to be deep.
Yes.
There's a certain, somebody made an observation and said, following the shoe, y'all don't wear rings. I don't? No, because I want to know this. If it takes a ring for me to know I'm married, I'm in trouble already. If I have to see a woman and be like, hey, hey, oh crap, I'm married. I can't talk to you. If I have to go through that, we're already in trouble. If she needs a ring to say no to a man, we ain't got a marriage anyways. Well, the ring's supposed to stand for unity. How many rings have saved marriages? You know one thing about a ring? It's removable. Lick your finger and pull off, and there it goes in the cup, cup holder. Guess what thing you can't? When it's in your heart. When that covenant is established and you did it before Yah, it doesn't take a physical sign for me to know that I'm married to her and her knows she's married to me. Because we walk it daily. That paper, we don't need a paper to signify our marriage. We don't need marriage pictures to signify our marriage. I mean, it'd be nice now if we had a Hebraic, if we had done it right in the beginning, but we didn't. So we created a covenant. And we need those covenants. Those covenants are important. They're important with the Father because as Israelites, we made a covenant with him. That's what we need to stand for. So, can a woman get divorced? Yes, if she's a Greek and a Roman. But if she's an Israelite, that's why it's so important to know who you choose and to pick who you choose wisely. So that you are not under any sort of bondage if that man decides to go and turn wicked, which you will be in. Hope this answers your question. Israelites, create Israelite covenants with the Father. Leave the system out of it. Bless you. Shalom.
Shalom.